Welcome to another episode of the Ear Hustler podcast, where everybody has a story and God gets the glory. Today, our special guest is none other than Mrs. Michelle Chafee. How are you doing today, Miss Michelle?
Good, Patrick.
Yes, ma'am. So, first off, Miss Michelle, let me ask you, where are you originally from?
Well, I was born in Minnesota, in a pretty small town, not as small as Washington, but about 10,000 people. And I was raised there until I graduated high school. And then I went to college in Massachusetts for a little while, and then in California, where I lived for 11 years.
Okay. And you're married?
I'm married, yes.
And children?
I have 2 daughters, who are grown, yeah.
Okay. So, out of all the places in the world, why Washington, Georgia? What made you all decide to just pack up and move here?
Well, when our youngest graduated high school, we knew that we wanted to get away from the winters in Minnesota, which are really, really harsh and seem to last like 9 months of the year. So we had been looking at many different places to move. At the time, for 2 years prior, I was in Paris, France, in a tech incubator called Station F. So we had an apartment in Paris, and we were there part-time and still considering, because I had residency there because I was a tech founder. So we were still kind of considering, are we going to, stay in France, or are we going to stay in the US? But we definitely wanted someplace warmer. So we had looked at many places, and I didn't love really any of the houses that we had seen, and I didn't want anything really big. And so I told my husband one day, let's just look for a house we love. And if it's any place warmer than Minnesota and within 2 hours of an international airport, because at that time I was traveling a lot, that would work. And that very day he found this house. And that weekend, this was October 2019, I contacted Deborah Rainey, who we drove here. She showed us a bunch of houses. And we went right back to France after that. We were gone for about a month, but we just kept thinking about this house. And so we made an offer on this house when we were in France, and it was accepted. And then January 2020, we closed on this house, moved our stuff here, sold our house in Minnesota, but we're planning still to, go back to Paris. We had our apartment, but then with COVID, everything shut down. So
okay,
that's kind of our story. We didn't know anybody here.
And what was so special about this house?
Well, it's an amazing house. I think I think it's the coolest house in Washington. It's the oldest house in Wilkes County, one of the oldest in the entire state of Georgia. It was built around 1770. It's reported that the Battle of Kettle Creek was planned in this house. So we just loved it. I mean, it's amazing.
Okay.